G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we are on, it's not Continental, this is Ocean Gateway. It's a little bit different from Continental, if you're familiar with that map. Obviously there's water around the edges of the map, but most importantly there are cliffs around the edge of the island. And this is actually quite a smart move. I like this a lot. We'll talk more about this in a little bit because this is going to be a good game. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the west of the map in the color yellow, playing as the Golden Horde, the Mongol variant. We've got Puppy Paw. And on the east side of the map, in the color orange, playing as the English, we've got Lock. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. A pleasure to have your company. Now, keep in mind, throughout this series, I probably will be mentioning the fact that, well, coming up probably tomorrow, I think it is, Outback Octagon is returning. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description and have a look at what we've got here. Puppy Paw being a little bit cheeky. I wonder what this is all about, but I'm sure we'll work that out very, very soon. But anyway, yes, Outback Octagon will be coming back. Now, of course, if you don't want to tune in live, that is absolutely fine. All videos will be uploaded to YouTube very, very shortly after they happen, all the games, so do not fret. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about this and about this map in particular. So the normal Continental, I like it a lot. I don't know whether or not it translates over quite well to Age of Empires 4 though, mainly because it's chaotic, right? You can put docks anywhere. And one of the great things about this map is it limits where you can put your docks. So here is an example. We can see that only one player has elected to go for the opening dock, and that's Lock up towards the top side. Can I also just compliment the devs on this biome? Once again, I think this is Tropical Swamp, and they're kicking it out of the park. Doing an incredible job with their biomes in recent times. They just continue to improve. I didn't think you could get better than Japanese Springs, but it turned out you can. Anyway, checking in with Puppy Paw though. Puppy Paw is just completely taking it on land. And this is kind of wild, right? Because you've literally got a player that's saying, I am not going to invest in the deep water fish. I don't want to get involved in your water shenanigans. And that's kind of crazy because essentially at this point we have a second town center producing a second set of villages every 30 seconds. And that's dangerous because if you leave that alone, well, it will quickly spiral out of control. So that's something that we need to be cautious of whenever we're playing on a map like this, or a map that's, you know, always something that we need to be considerate of whenever there's water around. But we'll check back in with Lock. We'll see how he's doing. What's the game plan for him? He's on the English, the OG English. So will we see a council hall today? Potentially. We could see that. That will help him on the defense side of things. By the same token, on the other side of the map, Puppy Paw going for building carts. Now, I wonder, building carts, whether or not they can make docks. I think Puppy Paw may potentially be looking to do that. Now, another thing to note is that we've got the trees here, or the mangrove trees on the edges. I don't know whether or not you're going to be able to build a dock over the top of them. I would suspect that you would, because surely like the devs would go in and be like, hold on a minute, I can't build a dock right here where there's a mangrove tree. And it kind of looks like he may have stomped them up over on this side as well, Lock. So I suspect that's going to be the case. There's plenty of them on every entry. You can see that they're just littered on those entryways. So it's a nice little, it's just a lovely little touch. But anyway, building carts coming through at a minute 5. Now, this is not normally what we see. Normally, we actually see players going into the Khan and the Tor goods. And that's because, well, it just makes sense, right? Tor goods are good. This age up reduces the cost of Tor goods, therefore it's good. Also gives them a nice little bit of health as well. But we now see Puppy Paw dropping down a gur on the woodline. Now, you may notice some big loud noises in my microphone. I apologize for these. Unfortunately, there was a demolition that happened next door to me about a month ago, and they've started building. And well, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment, and that is the prime time for building. So they've got the excavator over there. I can assure you, my son is very happy about the status of our living arrangements. Unfortunately, us not so much. The parents dealing with the excavator, because it does come on quite early some days, so it can be a bit loud. But anyway, we've got Age Up about to come through 10 seconds from here. I'm curious to see which way he looks to play this. It feels like the Age Up takes forever with the Golden Horde, but he arrives at a relatively competitive time here. We see 4 minutes and 30, not too bad at all. And which way is he going to go? Of course, he can make the stables, he can make the dock, and it's going to be the single dock that he puts down, and then the second one is going to come through on the back side here. And what's the play? Oh, is he going for a proxy potentially? Or is he going for another dock? Oh, he's going for a second dock. So he's obviously seen this and realized he can't put more than one dock down. So he's going to have to come over here to put the second dock. So I love the way that he's already looking to challenge this. Meanwhile, we've got Lock, who is looking to switch things up a little bit. Abbey of Kings coming as well as Arax. Now, obviously, he'll be expecting that his opponent has elected to go into the Khan and the Torguds. Of course, that's pretty much like 99.9% of players these days at the Conqueror 3 level. Though, to be fair, I did just play against a Conqueror 3 player who did not do that. He went for the building carts as well. So who knows? Maybe there's something for the building carts. We'll have to wait and see what the play is. But we got walls coming up now, so he's looking to play a little bit defensive here. Spots the barracks coming up in the base as well, and this one's a little bit sus, right? You see this. Obviously, it's going to be there primarily to deny the inevitable king that comes in. But normally you would just think, okay, well, he's probably just going to use Khan and Torguds to defend. He'll just track the king as it crosses the map. So perhaps he's not quite yet aware of the fact that his opponent will be challenging him on water. It's an interesting opening, though, from Puppy Paw, because realistically, you would think that Puppy Paw would be behind. And yeah, sure, he is, in the sense that there's 4 fishing boats out here compared to the 1 fishing boat that's out here. But if he can keep these bad boys hidden, there is absolutely room. Yeah, you can see Lock does finally spot this out. He only just spots it now and goes, oh, you cheeky Puppy Paw. So perhaps that was an intentional decision to not show those, or not show that card quite early, because now you've got the double dock, and that's quite an advantageous position here, because how do you go about playing this realistically from the side of Lock? Do you think, okay, well, I could come over here and I could look to siege this down with units, or maybe I could get a galley or 2 out here to try and deal with this? It's a bit of a gamble at this stage, but of course we know the truth. There's also a second dock down towards this position, so we've got a bit of a secret double dock situation here. Now we've got those Torguds coming out here. You can tell that they are Torguds because they don't look like Keshiks. They've also got a different weapon in the hand. Imagine if they were Keshiks. They're not. They're maces. So we're fortunately fine in this situation, but the scout looks like it's probably going to be going down here. Puppy Paw going to do his best to defend that presence, and have a look at the amount of villagers he has got on wood here. Does he have any villas on gold? Yeah, he's got 2 villas on gold. Nobody else. Oh, look, he's really committing hard to a super big boat boom as well, and getting the walls up. Puppy Paw right now with a big brain economic play here, because you've got to remember that to an extent, Lock is lulled into a false sense of security. He sees the single dock. He says to himself, okay, we'll be all right. We're ahead on the fishing boat number, so as long as we just play it pretty standard here, we'll go castle, maybe look for a timing here, we should be okay. Puppy Paw is very cheeky. The fact that he got that quick age up in as well allows the building carts to get out, allows that double dock to come through, and now we've got the king managing to hit the villager, only doing the 1 tap, and then we can see the spears positioned perfectly in that spot just to make sure that they pick up, do that damage on the king. Almost caught the king there, but Batu Khan on the other side doing a little bit of the same thing over towards our English player. Loses the scout, unfortunately. Puppy Paw does. Quite a few spears out on this map already. We've got 7 on the side of Lock, 4 on the side of Puppy Paw. We'll check back in on Puppy Paw's side. Now, keep in mind, Puppy Paw, he is not the reigning champion for Outback Octagon. Outback Octagon champion is currently Beastie. Puppy Paw has won twice, though. So tonight, well, not tonight, because it's still going to be, it'll be a while. Whenever he plays, though, he is going to be a very formidable opponent. So we'll have to keep an eye out for him. We might actually do a little bit of a practice cast for the FFA as well, just to make sure everything's working. And look at this. He's really doubling down. Extended lines now coming through for Puppy Paw as well. He's going for the triple dock boom. 1, 2, and 3. And what a beautiful map to do it on as well. Can we just, once again, just compliment the map? Look at this. I don't know if it's coming through on your screens the same way that it's coming through on my screens. I've got one of those OLED monitors, and I've noticed on my OLED monitor compared to all my other monitors that like everything comes through a lot more vibrant on the OLED. So I guess that's something to consider, but turn up your contrast and it'll look good. It'll look better, I should say, because I'm sure it already looks good anyways. Okay, so we got a slow and steady play here from Lock. Castle Age is going to be coming through from him, and curiously, Puppy Paw doesn't want to shut this down. He is absolutely happy with the current state of the game. He is just more than happy to allow his opponent to keep fishing, because the truth is, the reality is, if Puppy Paw was to shut this down, then it's going to require a defense, and then naturally, after the defense, if the defense is successful, the opponent's now got ships, and they may look to be offensive. So you've almost got Puppy Paw just having... Oh, that's an interesting spot. We've got the King's Palace coming towards the front of the base here. He's going to throw it down here. I guess the reality is it's still got plenty of health on it, so he'll be okay with this positioning here. You could put a white tower in this spot. Obviously, the white tower a little bit more safe than the King's Palace. I wouldn't expect it here, but I guess at the same time, where else are you going to put it? You got nowhere behind you. There's no other resources. Like, what, you're going to throw it down here? Well, might as well just throw it up on this side. So I think that makes sense. Lock. Doing a good job there. Meanwhile, on the other side, have a look what we've got coming through for Puppy Paw. There is no Castle Age. Just completely focused at the moment on the boat boom. It's been a long time since I've seen a big boy boat boom, but I think it might be back right now. A big boy boat boom goes back to the days of Age of Empires 3. And basically, in Age of Empires 3, the way that it worked was quite, well, it was a bit complicated. Once you got your head around it, it was okay. You had a home city, and your home city would send you things throughout the game, depending on how much experience you'd accrued over the course of the game. And one of the things that you could do is send a shipment from the home city. You could choose villages or units. There was upgrades that you could also choose, and one of them was called schooners, and that was by far my favorite card in the game. That's what they were called. You'd have a deck of cards, like 20 cards. Even just talking about it right now is making me so excited. But what you could do is reduce the cost of your fishing boats from 100 wood down to 40 wood. And what that would mean is you could go absolutely crazy with the amount of docks that you're putting down. So I used to do like 4 or 5 docks, especially in team games. I'd go 4 or 5 docks and just, you know, camp for about 5 minutes, and then you've got a lot of fishing boats. And I feel like Puppy Paw is doing that same sort of thing in this game. But the age up has now come through here for Lock. He's going to try and keep these villagers alive, manage to make them all the way to the town center. So fortunately, none of them will go down today. More units up towards the top side as Puppy Paw continues to add more units, but he's going to look for that Castle Age here. He's sitting at about 15 military population at the moment. His opponent on 17 military pop. We start to see crossbows coming out for him now. We'll check in with Puppy Paw and look which way he's going to be aging up. Golden Tent down towards the south side, and it's going to be the Muscovy Yasak. And I think this makes a fair bit of sense. Oh, we've got our first unit out. The galley out here. Now, we've already got, you can see on the side of Puppy Paw, he's already got the defensive naval arrow slits here, so that will be able to provide quite a bit of coverage. Now, of course, down towards this position, he's yet to pick it up. Over towards this side, do we have it just yet? We've got the naval arrow slits here, so unfortunately, the galley has made it past, but Puppy Paw undoubtedly is aware, so we'll be looking to potentially counter that. We'll have to wait and see. But at this stage of the game, one of the things to remember is that Lock has aged up about a minute or two in front of Puppy Paw's even clicked up, which means he's got the time to put down the monastery. It means he's got time to get the monks out. It means that he's got time to steal the relics away from his opponent. And don't get me wrong, Puppy Paw absolutely wants to pick up the relics. The reality is it's going to take a really long time for him to get up to that next stage, though. Light junk now going to be coming out here, looking to clean this up for Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw loses out the first villagers of the game. You can see the fishing boats were trying to heal themselves up, but unfortunately unable to survive through that damage of the enemy galley. Galley goes down, though, and Puppy Paw says, phew, that was close. Now, Puppy Paw's up a slight amount when it comes to the fishing boat number. Obviously, he's just lost 2. However, as the game goes on, he will continue to add in more. We can see him still adding in more fishing boats right now at this stage. And one of the great things about these deep sea fish is that they do regenerate. I love that I still call them deep sea fish. It's locked in there. That'll never come out. We'll be in 2060 and I'll still be calling them deep sea fish as I do my casts. I don't know who will be playing. I guess my son probably at that point. I'll be casting my son's games and still be calling them deep sea fish. For anyone unfamiliar with the reason why I do that, is because of the beta. They were called deep sea fish in the beta, and then I just got locked in. And from it, even though it's been like, what, 4 years since Age of Empires 4 has been out? It's been a long time, man. And still, I can't get it out. It's never deep water fish for me. Anyway, Age Up about to arrive now. Let's take a look and see exactly what this does, because it's an unfamiliar Age Up. We really don't see it utilized a lot. Basically, it gives you 200 wood every minute, trickles it in. The same way, I guess you could say, a relic. And then every time you build a unit, so very specifically, I think it is a heavy unit. So we can just double check that. Yes, so heavy infantry or heavy cavalry, it will reduce the wood that you're receiving by 2 and give them a shield. We've got plenty of units though. Longbow up in the pocket. He's trying his best to take out this dock up here. Lock realizes there could be a bit of trouble in Paradise. We do have yellow on orange, so I will apologize for that. We can technically change it over to blue and red, but it'll mean that we can't actually switch perspective between these two players, because otherwise they will switch. So we're going to pick one side. We'll make Puppy Paw blue right now. Let's call it like that. Probably makes it a little bit easier, but now crossbow numbers together as with men-at-arms, making their way to the front here, doing a decent job. No reinforcement upgrades coming through just yet. And now, able to repel away from his opponent. Longbow numbers starting to look good, and expect them to start trickling in damage into this back line here. We'll check in on that opponent's side and see how Lock is doing. I was going to change the perspective right there, but I've moved my finger off the keyboard. Makes it a little bit easier. We don't really see a whole lot of reinforcements coming out, just the spearman or two. So in his circumstances, which way does he want to go? I would be very tempted here to try and do a bit of a knight switch, but it looks like he's going to keep that infantry dream alive at this stage. Knights can make a fair bit of sense here. He's actually going to double down on the infantry. Actually, now that I think about it, knights are probably a little bit harder on this map, just because you've got less real estate to work with, right? If we assume that every map is the exact same amount of space, you've already lost a huge portion of your space, not only to the water, but also to the cliffs. So not all of this space is usable anymore. As on top of that, you don't have space up there that's got resources in it, right? So if you've got berries on the edge of the map, then it gives you a little bit more space. Basically, it makes it easier to defend with infantry on this map than it normally would. And because of that, I guess the viability of cavalry is quite low here. Perhaps that was the reason or the thinking behind Puppy Paw not actually playing into that cavalry style that we typically see the Golden Horde playing. We'll switch it over to income per minute right now. I'm going to switch out these colors as well. Puppy Paw back to yellow. Orange for Lock. We'll check in with Lock and see how he's doing as he's looking to lock down his side of the sea. We've got the Hulk now coming out. I don't know whether or not he's just planning on defense, but it is the potential way for him to get back into this game. Look to try and do a bit of offense here. Longbow numbers starting to build as well. He's up to 8 at the moment. He's going to need to try and pick these off. 2 relics have come through. Monk goes down, unfortunately. Town center going to be garrisoned. Ville's moving down to the south. He wants to make sure he doesn't lose any more, or rather any villages, because he hasn't lost any yet this game. Crossbows on the back, also doing a decent job. Archers coming through, and both players just playing very similar compositions. Archer, crossbow, men-at-arms seems to be doing the work here at the moment. I mean, how do you mix this up? How do you swap this out? Maybe throw some horsemen in to maybe deal with the ranged units? That's potentially it. Otherwise, it's just pretty much a stock standard play style. We'll check in with Puppy Paw and see how he's doing, as it looks almost certain that he's going to be repelled here. He's done a decent job with the attack, but unfortunately only 2 villagers have gone down. And now, speaking of villagers, the villagers look to clap back and say, hey, this is our gold. You ain't stopping us here, buddy. Army value pretty even here, within 1 unit's difference. Sacred Site now captured on the south side. Relic is 1 versus 2 at the moment. Is there really only 3 relics that spawned on this map? Say it ain't so. That's a sad number of relics, isn't it? Only 3 relics spawn on this map? Geez, that really limits the civilizations that you can play. It really changes the way that you can play as well. Like, relic Uvus just aren't an option for you, and I guess that's probably part of the reason why he avoided it in this game. Obviously, he was second to age up, so naturally it means you want to avoid it. But on top of that, it's just the fact that there's just so few relics. Maybe we're missing one. You know, sometimes my eyes, they're not always perfect. I'll say that right now. But you want to know what is perfect? This Red Bull right now that we're about to drink. That was a good segue. You got to admit that was a good segue. We got Wallalol coming up next year as well, by the way. So that'll definitely be fun. And look at this. Stone armies coming through right now. I do genuinely think this Imperial Age from the Golden Horde is just on a whole nother level, right? Like, if we were to put them on a tier list, you'd have to say, like, the Imperial Age for the Golden Horde is just S+ tier. Like, the Civilization, I don't know. But the Imperial Age for it, S+ tier. It is just incredible, mainly because of stone armies, mainly because of Torgoods. And I think it's also going to be a little bit strange going into Torgoods, but not having all the Torgood upgrades. I'm sure it's still possible, because it's like that was the cheaper Torgood. Oh, he got it with he had a couple of seconds left on it. Anyway, let me take a sip of this Red Bull. That's a good Red Bull. That is a good Red Bull. I actually just purchased those specifically just for Outback Octagon. Mainly because I was thinking to myself, well, I'm going to be up very late, and I want to make sure I've got caffeine, and my wife is going to be asleep. Actually, our coffee machine just went in for a service, so there's definitely not going to be any coffees, unfortunately. It'll be, I think, about 2 weeks is the estimate. So it's going to take some time, unfortunately, before the coffees come. So the Red Bull's going to have to do the hard lifting when it comes to the caffeine in these regions. At this stage, Puppy Paw typically wants to avoid taking the fight, and that's primarily because he's aging up. Once we age up, we're looking to get all those key upgrades in. So if we right on board with Puppy Paw, you could see he's got 16 archers, 16 men-at-arms, so probably looking for elite men-at-arms, but then most importantly, looking to take advantage of those stone armies upgrades. So it's going to reduce the cost of the Torgoods, of the Khan, and give you access to a whole bunch of new units that you can now train very, very cheaply. It takes quite a while to actually train them, I will say that right now, with the exception of the Torgood. which is, I think, pretty much the only change that they need to make. They just need to make it so that the Torgud takes longer, and maybe reduce its stats as well. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. I'm curious to see whether or not Puppy plays into it, though. Battering Ram's coming out. He's gone. No way. No, no way. Rams gain an ability that will immobilize themselves, gaining strong defensive bonuses and allowing to fire multiple arrows. Game plan is simple, ladies and gentlemen. We get the battering rams, we get inside the battering rams, and we never get out of the battering rams. So it does immobilize them when they've got this upgrade. You'll see they have like little windows on the side now. So this is really, really cool. So you can put them inside. It's got a bit of a cooldown though. That's the trouble as well. So it's not like, it would be really cool if you could kite them. Like, could you imagine just 16 arrows just coming up, boom, dead. And then like, you know, do your work. Oh my God, the Berkshire in the middle of the map, it gets spotted. The battering rams are here. I think it's gonna get up. It looks like there's way too many units crammed in here, unless these archers can somehow look to make a connection. Torgud's on the south side gonna do their best to try and end the madness. Not gonna be able to find it. I think this Berkshire does get up. It's an absolutely insane Berkshire in the middle of 3 huge forests. He manages to find space for it. Battering ram's gonna start working it down now. He's rallying them on the way in as well. Longbow's in the back. Vils are going to jump inside immediately, and now he's got a question. How do I deal with these battering rams? They are coming in hard and fast. 320 health on the Torguds, yet to get their upgrades, but biology's on the way, baby. Do not fret. Berkshire taking some damage. He's going to need to evacuate at least 10 of these Vils, get him out, starting to repair. Keep in mind, it's going to cost him wood here, so he'll be able to shed through or shed smaller amounts of blood compared to the stone that you normally would have to fork out. But nonetheless, the battering rams continue. Puppy Paw with absolutely beautiful foresight here to recognize, hey, you know what? Battering rams could do some magic right now. And indeed, they are doing magic. Longbow's doing a wonderful job of teeing off here. Berkshire is not dying, but the villager count is falling. He's lost 10 Vils at the moment, and that number will continue to go down. You can see there are Vils underneath here, very close to that front line, but Puppy Paw is getting worked in. At the same time, reinforcements coming through for both players. Springald's in the back as well. Another siege workshop, another 2, another 3, another 4, another 5 siege workshops coming in for Puppy Paw. More battering rams trying to make their way through, but there's just not enough room for them all. They're starting to get cramped up. And now finally the men-at-arms make their way to the front. Lock spamming out units. He's hit the Imperial Age, so he's looking for some potential upgrades as well, but I think in the end the Berkshire will go down. He's doing his best to keep it up. 300 wood. He's repairing through it. Men-at-arms slowly working it down. The Longbow's doing a decent job as well. He's got 1-2 battering rams about to go down, and Puppy Paw pulls the pin. He says that we're not doing it. Oh, but he's changed his mind. He says, no, we were so close. Oh, Lock. Don't do him like this, Puppy Paw. Lock somehow lives. Puppy Paw changes his mind at the last second. He was going to go back for it. And then he says, no, we can't. Wow. That right there could be the moment of this game that turns the tide completely. I have never seen such an amazingly positioned Berkshire. That Berkshire was genuinely the sickest Berkshire. Look at this, dude. Don't build a lumber camp. build a stone wall, my friend. That's what you really want right here. 1 stone wall here, 1 stone wall here, and laugh as your enemy attempts to take it down. I think the only option they've got here, I mean, they can't even go trebuchets, because remember, these trebuchets that you're... Hold on a minute. Today I learned. You can go traction trebuchet, or you can go bombard. I'm just thinking out loud here. The trouble is, if you go for a bombard in this situation, the Berkshire is going to kill it. If you go for a traction trebuchet, the Berkshire is going to kill it. So how do you deal with this? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea how Puppy was going to do it. I guess you could go battering rams. Battering rams we've seen quite effective. Triple mangonel now coming out. Quadruple mangonel now coming out. He is getting very excited by the prospect of siege. We can say that right now. Men-at-arms making their way forward. He's picked up the elite upgrades. We also see the armor coming through, the armor cladding for them. And now making their way back. We can see they're still yet to pick up that key Imperial Age upgrade for the mangonels. It really makes the difference with the mangonels. It's the key difference between a good mangonel and a great mangonel is whether or not... Oh my God, look at this Berkshire. This Berkshire is absolutely disgusting, dude. I can't believe this. I can't believe it got up. Did he pick up Court Architects as well? Did he just rush Court Architects? Why has it got so much health? Or did they just change it? He doesn't have a university yet. No, there's no Court Architects. I think it's just got a base of 6,500 health. How long have I been out of playing the English? All right, let's check in. Tall goods now. Coming through every 6 seconds. They're a little bit expensive, but you can definitely still justify them. Yet to pick up the reinforcements as well. One of the things I'd love to see from Puppy Paw is that reinforcements tech. Does he not have a stable? He doesn't have a stable. So anyway, reinforcements tech down here, depending on whichever one you'd like reinforcements from, increases the amount of units that you get. Instead of getting a set of 2, you'll get a set of 3. And it can make a big difference. You're effectively paying a lot less for your units. But now, Mangonel's beginning to push down, still yet to pick up their upgrade. You can see him looking to try and target this backline. We don't obviously have any super long-range longbows, no rangers coming out today. But Mangos are still doing a very good job here. Men-at-Arms holding the line. The trouble that they've got is these Tall Goods. Look at these Tall Goods, dude. 400 health on them. Look at the armor. Ridiculous. 9 ranged armor, and now Lock going to try his best to get on out of here. I think realistically, Lock's got to switch. He's got to switch into probably hand cannoneer spear with bombards. I think that's probably the best way for him to play this. Mainly because the hand cannoneer are what you really need to work through those Tall Goods. And you also need spear. But at the same time, you need to deal with the mangoes. And I feel like bombards are going to make the most sense there. But now we got some villagers beginning to make their way around the map here. I don't know exactly. Dude, he managed to get 6k off this? There's no way, dude. There's no way. There's a Gur here as well. There's no way that he managed to get 6k off it with 2 villagers. Has he just been out on the edges just slowly gathering up? Is that what we've been having? We got ourselves an Uvu, sneaky little Uvu up here. I like that these guys are building their bases next to each other. If this was Outback Octagon, we'd be like, is that teaming? That could be teaming. They're not killing each other. I think that might be teaming. We wouldn't really. They're obviously killing each other. They're killing each other. It's not a huge issue for them. Another thing to note, which may become more relevant the longer the game goes, look at all the late game wood. All of that late game wood is in the middle of the map. So this could be massively problematic for Puppy Paw. But to the south side of the map, Tall Goods look to try and get through. You can see that the remnants of that wood line and the wall around it in the end. It's going to get cleaned out, and unfortunately, Lock says, you know what, I'm just going to go clear out those 5 villagers and that Gur. And Puppy Paw says, that's fine, I'll just go clear out your base. Takes out just as many villagers on the south side. You can see 34 villagers taken out so far by Puppy Paw. And now looking to take down some landmarks. King's Palace going to become the focus. Lock up towards the north, still sieging down that over. It's going to take him some time. He's also getting caught up by a single men-at-arms. I can't help but feel like Puppy Paw probably taking a bit of a better trade right now than his opponent. Lock, ideally, you'd want to try and get back to help defend. Now, keep in mind, this entire game, Puppy Paw's still been on the water. Plenty of fishing boats out here. Obviously, a lot less efficient when you're so far away from the main dock. But still, they've got decent efficiency. He's picked up both of the fishing upgrades here. Now Tall Goods and Men-at-Arms looking to hold the line here as the Mangonels tee off. No upgrade coming through just yet for these Mangonels. We're going to keep a very keen eye out for it. Infantry making their way across the top of the map here. We'll right on board with Puppy Paw as he looks to continue inside the pocket of the enemy base. A lot of longbows now starting to come online as well. Does he go back for a potential shot? Rust Tributes also going to be arriving in. Springwood in placement, working it down. Battering Ram's going to try a sneaky on the Berkshire. Not going to be able to find it. And Puppy Paw throws away all of the troops here. Says, you know what, we kind of overcommitted there. It looks like he did get the King's Palace at the very least, so does a little bit of economic damage, but probably nothing to write home about at this stage. 30 minutes into the game, or 28 minutes into the game here, and it looks relatively even. You'd have to say Lock's probably got a bit of an advantage right now. The main thing is just converting. So I'd be going battering rams or I'd be going bombards. I need some form of siege. Because the trouble that you've got is you've got a really big army. Your opponent's army is not that big. So you need to be able to, A, force an engagement. And how do you do that? Well, you can do that with siege. So if the enemy's base is slowly dying, well, that's going to be okay. But if it's dying very quickly, that's going to become a problem. So I think looking in that direction, you could even maybe think of going down towards the Golden Tent. By the way, have a look at this. We've got a huge amount of mangoes that are starting to build up here. Still no upgrade coming in yet. We've got the armor coming through for the Tall Goods. So an extra bit of health, a little bit of extra armor. Also an increase in the gather rate. And now up towards the north, we see an additional keep coming up. Lock doing a wonderful job when it comes to securing resources on this map. I'll say that right now. He's very good at controlling each of these positions. But now, Puppy Paw once again on the defense. Mangonels, he looks like he's playing a little bit of Crucible right now. The amount of mangoes he's got in between all of these buildings here. Villagers on the way back. Puppy Paw going to be losing out quite a bit here. Down to 160 population. Trying his best to hold on in this game. Spearmen have been upgraded as well. Elite Army Tactics, I suspect he's probably picked it up. Let's double check. Yeah, he's picked up the Elite Army Tactics. So these spearmen are fighting spearmen. Siege Workshop about to be taken out. We got men-at-arms behind the scenes here, slowly trying to take down these villagers. Reinforcements are going to help. We've also got the Berkshire. I love that the Berkshire is helping defend the farms and at the same time taking down Puppy Paw's base. But I guess that says a lot about this map, right? To be honest, I do like this map a lot. There's a part of me that very much likes this map. I'd also like to see a variant where there's just like where you just have cliffs around the edge and there's no fish whatsoever, and the whole idea is that you've just got like a slightly smaller map. Because like this kind of concept does exist, right? Like there's maps where we have the cliff with the water completely on one side, so you get a little bit of a smaller play area, which typically makes people more aggressive because resources are closer together, so it's easier to deny them. Yeah, I guess that would be an interesting prospect, right? Because I guess, as I said, all of the 1v1 maps are all the same size. So the only way you could really reduce the size of it is just by reducing the play area. But it definitely makes for a fun game. I'll say that right now. It feels like it's action-packed. Though there is it's pretty much just infantry. Well, infantry and mangonels. Infantry and mangonels, that's for sure. Mango's teeing off. Let's check and see whether or not... There's still no upgrade just yet. Roller shutter triggers for Puppy Paw. I find it very interesting that he's not prioritizing this upgrade, considering the difference that it makes in these units when you've got it versus when you don't have it. But he's got a good number of mangoes that are starting to build up here, and immediately you can see Lock sort of giving away from that frontal position here. No incendiary arrows coming through just yet as he backs out. Looks like he's managed to repair the wall to the south, holding the position for the moment. And now Puppy Paw returning up towards this top side. Keep in mind, his opponent was maxed for quite some time, so Puppy Paw's definitely had to climb Mountain Probable. A distinct lack of siege. No hand cannoneers either. Though, to be fair, not a whole lot of gold on this map. He did manage to secure this gold, 6k up here. This one's completely gone, so this is the last remaining gold. Now, there is trade on this map. The only interesting thing to note, though, is it's all coastal trade. I wonder, could you actually get a trader along here? I don't think so, judging by this. This looks like a cliff that's going to be difficult for a typical horse to walk. But now the numbers building up in the middle of the map. Puppy Paw, huge amount of mangoes. Still no upgrade for Puppy Paw. Ville's going to be falling back away. And now the men-at-arms on the front line. Not a lot of crossbows in the back, just a whole bunch of longbows. And remember those longbows, they're great, but not when there's this many men-at-arms. And now moving up with the mangoes. Looks for a decent shot off the top rope. Able to find a little bit of a connection onto the front line. The men-at-arms have done a decent job in holding for these mangoes, and now it's mangonel versus longbow, which is typically not where you want to be when you're the longbow. Though, to be fair, very good micro on longbows should be able to whittle down the mangonel over time if they've got all their upgrades in. But you can see he's still missing out on a 3. No +3, still no incendiary arrows, but it is coming in right now. Lock down to 165 population. Puppy Paw up to 177. He's managed to switch it around. Men-at-arms going to make their way through. 40 longbows, 14 men-at-arms. Unfortunately, it's a classic case of not having enough gold to put it into gold-heavy units. Continuing to kite, continuing to fight. But it's starting to look worse and worse for where in the middle of the map, the Berkshire goes down, or is about to go down. Vils are working it. Bombard's in the back here, and that's going to be the Berkshire down. And with the Berkshire down, the rest of the base undoubtedly going to fall within the next minute or so here. Mango's teeing off once again, and it's just a classic case of having lots of ranged units and not enough to address the Mango. Still no upgrade, by the way. I'm losing my mind at the fact that we've got no upgrades here, but I tell you what, this Berkshire, now that it's gone down, watch how quickly Puppy Paw just trickles units into this base. There is nothing stopping him from doing that now. Spears are going to try and hold the front line, but the men-at-arms, way too strong. +4 armor on these bad boys. Keep in mind, they got the Karash to assist them, provide that little bit of extra damage, and now the Mango's looking to clean up the remnants of the army. Lock, trying his best to hold his head above the water, but Puppy Paw pushes harder and harder and harder, ladies and gentlemen. He's dead. You killed him. Anyway, make sure you go check him out. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can catch both of these guys live over on Twitch. Of course, Puppy Paw will be playing in the Outback Octagon, so make sure you check him out, and make sure you check it out as well, because it's coming back November 19.